Every morning, two women wake up. One looks at her phone, the other looks at her purpose. One rushes into chaos, the other rises with calm. The difference? It's not luck, it's not time, it's habits. Sacred, simple, strong habits. Because strong women don't have more time, they have more intention. Every morning, the alarm rings, not just to wake you up, but to awaken your awareness. And yet, most of us, the very first thing we do is reach out, not for peace, not for purpose, but for the phone. We scroll through messages, notifications, someone else's happiness, someone else's problems. And before we've even left the bed, our mind is already crowded. But strong women, they do something different. They pause, they breathe, and instead of grabbing their phone, they grab a moment of gratitude. They don't begin their day with what's missing, they begin with what's present. They whisper to themselves, "Thank you for this breath, for this body, for this new chance to try again." You see, gratitude is not a ritual, it's a way of seeing. When you wake up with gratitude, your problems don't disappear, but their weight changes. A strong woman doesn't deny her struggles, but she starts her day by acknowledging her blessings. Because the truth is, no matter how dark yesterday was, if you opened your eyes this morning, life just gave you another opportunity to make it brighter. I've often noticed the women who radiate strength aren't necessarily the ones with perfect mornings, but the ones who wake up with peaceful hearts. They don't wait for big miracles to be grateful, they celebrate the small ones. The quiet morning light through the curtain, the aroma of tea, the sound of a loved one's voice, the stillness before the world starts rushing. Gratitude changes the vibration of your day. When you wake up complaining, life gives you more to complain about. But when you wake up appreciating, life gives you more reasons to smile. It shifts you from, "Oh, I have to earth," to, "I get to. I have to go to work and build something. I have to cook for my family," becomes, "I get to nourish the people I love. I have to face challenges," becomes, "I get to grow stronger through them." And that's the difference between reacting to life and responding to it with power. And that's the difference between responding. We people aren't responding to. Strong women choose the second path, not because their lives are easy, but because they refuse to begin their mornings with bitterness. So, when a strong woman opens her eyes, she doesn't ask, "Why me?" She says, "Thank you. Thank you for this breath. Thank you for another sunrise. Thank you for giving me strength yesterday and the chance to do better today." That simple moment of gratitude doesn't take time, it creates time. It slows the rush, calms the heart, and reminds her that before she handles the world, she must first handle her thoughts. And that is why strong women wake up differently. Because while others are searching for their phone, she's searching for peace. And she finds it every single morning in the quiet power of a thankful heart. When a strong woman wakes up in the morning, her first conversation is not with the world, it's with herself. And that conversation decides everything, because the voice that speaks in her mind before anyone else does has the power to either lift her day or limit it. Most people start their mornings fighting battles that haven't even begun, not outside, but inside. "I'm tired. I'm not good enough. I can't do this." These are the silent sentences that steal confidence long before life even tries to test it. And the saddest part, we speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to someone we love. But strong women, they have learned a different way of talking, a way that heals instead of hurts. When they stand in front of the mirror, they don't just see a reflection, they see resilience. They don't count the flaws on their skin, they count the lessons that build their strength. They remind themselves gently, I am enough, I am capable, I am growing, I am loved even when no one says it aloud. You see, it's not arrogance, it's alignment, it's not ego, it's encouragement. Because self-talk isn't about denying weakness, it's about defining strength. A strong woman knows that her words are seeds, and every morning she chooses carefully what she plants in the garden of her mind. The world may tell her she's not doing enough, not achieving fast enough, not perfect enough, but she has learned to replace not enough with doing my best. And that small shift changes the entire rhythm of her day. If you've ever watched someone truly strong, you'll notice their calmness doesn't come from having no noise around them. It comes from having peace within them. That peace begins with kind words. She knows that before she can speak lovingly to others, she must first learn to speak lovingly to herself. Every time doubt whispers, she responds with belief. Every time fear rises, she responds with faith. Every time the mirror shows tired eyes, she says softly, even tired eyes can still see beauty. And yes, there are mornings when she doesn't feel strong, when the weight of expectations feels heavy, when emotions feel scattered. But even then, she doesn't fight her feelings. She befriends them. She allows herself to say, it's okay to feel like this today. I don't have to be perfect to be powerful. That acceptance itself becomes her strength, because strength is not the absence of vulnerability, it's the ability to hold it gently. The way a mother holds her child, a strong woman holds her heart with patience, compassion, and care. When she speaks kindly to herself, the world's opinions lose their sharpness. Criticism doesn't break her because her foundation is built on love from within. Compliments don't control her because her worth doesn't depend on them. And slowly, this daily conversation, this morning ritual of gentle words, becomes her invisible armor. It guards her mind, it steadies her emotions, it reminds her that no matter how the day unfolds, she is enough. That's why every morning, before facing the world, a strong woman faces her reflection, not to fix it, but to honor it. She knows the day ahead will bring challenges, but she also knows she has already spoken the most powerful words she could ever hear. I am proud of you. Keep going. That is the language of strength, quiet, kind, and deeply rooted in self-respect. And when a woman learns to speak that language to herself every morning, the world begins to listen differently to her too. The first 15 minutes of your morning are the most sacred, yet they're the most easily surrendered. Most people, the moment they wake up, hand over their peace to the world, through notifications, through screens, through endless noise. Before their feet even touch the ground, their mind is already running, chasing messages, comparing lives, reacting to things that don't even belong to this moment. But strong women, they know that these first few minutes after waking are not ordinary. They are sacred. They hold the power to decide whether the day begins with chaos or with calm. So they guard those minutes as if they're protecting the gate to their inner temple. No one and nothing is allowed to enter that space before their own soul does. They don't scroll, they sit. They don't reach out, they reach in. The world can wait, because they understand that how you begin is how you continue. If your first act of the morning is reaction, the entire day becomes a series of reactions. But if your first act is reflection, your entire day unfolds with intention. A strong woman wakes up knowing that peace is not something you find, it's something you build. So she builds it quietly in those early moments. She might sit by her window, feeling the gentle light of dawn. She might close her eyes and breathe, not to escape the world, but to enter it with clarity. She might whisper a prayer, write in her journal, or simply smile at the silence. But whatever she does it mindfully, because she knows that silence is not the absence of sound, it's the presence of strength. It's in silence that ideas are born, courage is restored, and clarity returns. Those 15 minutes are where she meets herself before meeting the world. I once heard someone say, the way you spend the first hour of the day is the way you live your life. And it's true. Most people start their mornings reacting to someone else's life, messages, news, notifications. They become guests in their own mind. But strong women, they choose to be the host. They take control of what enters their thoughts. Those 15 minutes are her time to set the tone, to decide, today I will not rush, I will respond. I will not just move, I will move with purpose. It's a form of discipline, but also of love. Because protecting that space means protecting her peace. And peace is the foundation upon which everything else stands. Sometimes people think 15 minutes can't change my day. But the truth is, 15 minutes can change your state. And your state changes your decisions, your energy, your outcomes. The woman who gives herself peace in the morning carries that peace into every conversation, every challenge, every storm that tries to shake her. There's a quiet beauty in those early minutes. The world hasn't demanded anything yet. No one is asking, calling, or expecting. That is the time when your mind is most open, your heart is most receptive, your spirit is most alive. And strong women use that time to feed their inner world before facing the outer one. She might sit with her cup of tea, not scrolling, not planning, just being. She might write down a thought that came in silence, one that will guide her throughout the day. She might simply say, "Thank you." And in that gratitude, she builds her strength. Because when you begin the day slowly, intentionally, you're not being lazy, you're being wise. You're choosing to build calmness before the world gives you chaos. You're choosing to fill your mind with peace before others fill it with noise. That is why strong women protect those first 15 minutes as fiercely as a queen guards her crown. They know that once that time is lost to distraction, the rest of the day often follows in the same direction. But when those minutes are protected, the rest of the day flows with grounded energy, grace, and focus. So she draws a silent boundary. No phone, no messages, no noise, until I've met myself. That is her rule, her ritual, her act of self-respect. And it's in those 15 quiet minutes that she finds something the world cannot give and cannot take away. Her center, because she knows that strength doesn't come from controlling everything outside. It comes from mastering what happens inside. And every morning, in those precious 15 minutes of peace, she masters herself again. When a strong woman begins her morning, she understands that her mind is like a lake. Whatever thoughts she allows to enter will ripple through the entire day. If the surface is disturbed at dawn, the reflection of everything after that becomes unclear. That's why she chooses not to rush into her morning. She chooses to center her mind before she steps into the noise of the world. She knows that if she doesn't train her mind to be still, the world will train it to be restless. So before she picks up her phone, before she looks at her to-do list, before she begins the race of the day, she sits quietly, sometimes cross-legged on her mat, sometimes just on the edge of her bed, and breathes. Slowly, deeply, intentionally. That breath is her anchor. Each inhale reminds her that she's alive, and each exhale reminds her that she can let go. Let go of yesterday's disappointments. Let go of worries about tomorrow. Let go of the noise that wants to enter too soon. She understands that the mind is not naturally calm, it's naturally crowded, and peace must be created, not found. Sometimes she meditates, sometimes she prays, sometimes she simply closes her eyes and listens to the sound of her breath, to the beating of her heart, to the soft hum of life around her. And in that moment, she reconnects with what truly matters. She knows that silence is not empty, it's full of answers she can't hear when the world is too loud. A strong woman doesn't chase calm, she cultivates it. She treats her inner peace as her highest responsibility because she knows that when her mind is centered, she can handle anything. But when her mind is scattered, even small problems feel unbearable. She's learned through experience that most of life's chaos doesn't come from what happens outside, but from how we process it inside. If the mind is steady, storms feel like breezes. If the mind is cluttered, even small winds feel like hurricanes. So she gives herself time every morning to clean that mental space, the same way one might tidy a room. She gently notices her thoughts, the anxious ones, the doubtful ones, the hopeful ones, and instead of fighting them, she watches them pass by like clouds drifting across the sky. She doesn't try to control them, she simply refuses to let them control her. That's her quiet strength. Awareness without attachment. This centering doesn't always look perfect. Some mornings, her thoughts feel heavy. Some days, the silence feels uncomfortable. But even then, she sits because she knows that the goal is not to silence the mind. It's to learn how to return to peace again and again, no matter how far the mind wanders. She might focus on her breath or repeat a simple mantra. I am here. I am enough. I am calm. These aren't just words. They are gentle reminders pulling her back to the present moment. She's not meditating to escape life. She's meditating to enter it with grace. And when she finishes, something subtle yet profound has shifted. Her body feels lighter. Her thoughts feel organized. Her energy feels clean. She's no longer reacting to the day. She's ready to respond to it. That small act of centering becomes her secret weapon. Even when challenges come, and they always do, she meets them differently. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" she can calmly say, "What is this trying to teach me?" Because a centered mind doesn't panic, it perceives. It looks beyond the problem to find the purpose. That's why people often notice something different about her. Her presence feels grounded, her voice feels peaceful, her energy feels balanced. She can walk into a storm without losing her stillness because she's already anchored it within herself. She doesn't need to control every situation because she's learned to control her state. And that control doesn't come from force, it comes from awareness. Every morning, she chooses to begin not from her schedule, but from her soul. Not from urgency, but from understanding. When you see a woman who can smile in chaos, listen patiently when others shout, stay gentle when others break, know this: her calm is not an accident. It's the result of daily discipline, of small moments of centering that no one sees. That is the silent power of a strong woman. She doesn't just wake up to face the world. She wakes up to align herself with it. Her peace is not given by the morning. It is made in the morning. And when her mind is centered, no matter what the day brings, she walks through it with clarity, courage, and calm, the true marks of inner strength. When a strong woman wakes up, she understands that the body might be hungry, but the mind is hungrier. It hungers for direction, for inspiration, for purpose. She knows that before she feeds her stomach, she must feed her soul. Because food gives energy, but wisdom gives meaning. And energy without meaning only creates motion, not progress. Most people, when they wake up, rush toward the kitchen or the coffee cup. They fill their body but forget their mind. They start the day with breakfast, but not with belief. They eat to survive the morning, but forget to nourish the thoughts that will shape the entire day. But a strong woman knows better. She's learned through experience that what she consumes mentally in the morning decides how she responds emotionally for the rest of the day. So she chooses what she feeds her mind very carefully. Instead of scrolling through negativity, she scrolls through wisdom. Instead of filling her thoughts with comparison, she fills them with calm. Maybe she opens a book that inspires her or listens to a voice that uplifts her spirit. A few words of faith, a short message of purpose, a line that reminds her why she must keep going. It doesn't have to be long. Even a single sentence can transform the quality of her morning. She might read something like, "You don't have to control the storm, you just have to stay centered." Or, "One grateful thought is worth more than 1,000 complaints." These little thoughts become her morning meal for the mind. They are invisible nutrients. They strengthen her from the inside, quietly, gently, powerfully. You see, what we feed our minds becomes the flavor of our day. If we start our morning consuming fear, anxiety, or gossip, we'll digest those emotions all day long. But if we begin with gratitude, wisdom, or reflection, we'll taste peace even in difficult moments. Strong women understand this law deeply. They know that the mind works exactly like the body. Whatever you feed it, it becomes. And that's why she's selective. She knows her mind is too precious to be filled with random noise. She treats her attention like sacred currency. She spends it only on things that uplift her. She might listen to a few minutes of a motivational talk, or read a passage from a spiritual book, or even write her own reflections in a journal. Sometimes she just listens to silence and lets her thoughts flow, because she knows that even silence can be nourishing when it's intentional. There are days when she feels low, when the world feels heavy. On those days, she doesn't seek distraction, she seeks direction. She opens her favorite piece of writing or a voice that brings her back home, to herself. She lets those words wash over her like morning sunlight, melting away doubt and bringing back clarity. Feeding the mind is not about becoming perfect, it's about becoming prepared. Because once she fills her inner world with wisdom, no outer noise can easily shake her. When someone's negativity tries to disturb her, her thoughts act as a shield. When life throws challenges at her, the lessons she's consumed remind her how to respond with grace. And it's not always about spiritual reading or motivation. Sometimes it's about reflection, asking herself, what do I want to feel today? What kind of energy do I want to give? She starts with inner questions before facing outer responsibilities. Because when the direction is clear, the distractions lose their power. She also knows that the quality of her thoughts affects the quality of her energy. If she begins her morning with a complaint, her energy feels heavy. But if she begins it with wisdom, she glows, not because life is easy, but because her mind is strong. When she nourishes her mind before her body, something magical happens. Her breakfast doesn't just fill her stomach, it becomes a continuation of gratitude. Her tea tastes better because she's drinking it with mindfulness. Her body feels lighter because her mind is not burdened. She doesn't eat in hurry, she eats in harmony. There's a silent confidence that comes from a nourished mind. It reflects in her words, her posture, her choices. People around her can feel it. That calm, steady energy that doesn't come from caffeine or compliments, but from the quiet wisdom she consumed when the world was still asleep. Strong women understand that every day will demand something from them. Their time, their emotions, their strength. So, before the world can take from them, they give to themselves. And that gift begins with the food for the mind. Thoughts that empower, ideas that enlighten, beliefs that strengthen. Because the truth is simple, a woman who feeds her body but starves her mind will feel full but lost. But a woman who feeds her mind before her body will feel grounded, guided, and unshakably strong. So she begins each morning not with a rush, but with a ritual, a few words of wisdom, a few moments of reflection, a few breaths of peace. And in doing so, she doesn't just prepare for the day, she prepares her being. Because a strong woman knows that breakfast can fill her body, but only wisdom can fill her world. When a strong woman moves in the morning, it's not about burning calories, it's about burning away everything that doesn't serve her peace. Her movement is not a punishment for what she ate yesterday. It's a celebration that she's still alive today. She understands that motion is not just for the body, it's medicine for the mind, a prayer in motion, a dialogue between her soul and her strength. When she stretches, she doesn't just stretch her arms or her legs. She stretches her limits, her beliefs, her emotions. With every slow rise of her body, she's teaching herself to rise again, no matter how heavy yesterday was. Her body remembers everything, the tension, the worry, the fear, and through movement she releases it all. For her, the morning is sacred. The world is still quiet, the air is still fresh, and that's when she meets herself. Not as a mother, a daughter, a professional, or a caretaker, but simply as her, the woman beneath all roles. The woman who needs no title to feel worthy. The woman who doesn't move for approval, but for alignment. Some mornings, she practices yoga. Other days, she walks slowly through her space, feeling her feet connect with the earth. Sometimes she plays her favorite song and dances, not for anyone to see, but just to remind herself of joy. Her movement is fluid, free, and full of awareness. She doesn't chase perfection, she follows presence. You see, the body is the home of the mind. If the home is tense, the mind can't rest. A strong woman knows this truth deeply, that emotional release often begins with physical release. So when she moves, she's not just exercising, she's exhaling her worries, her stress, her pain. Every step, every stretch, every breath becomes an act of cleansing. As she moves, she thanks her body, not for how it looks, but for how it serves. She honors it for carrying her through life's storms, for holding her through sleepless nights, for healing from invisible battles no one else could see. She may whisper softly, "Thank you, body, for staying with me even when my mind gave up." That gratitude transforms her movement into meditation. The world often teaches women to look at their bodies with judgment, to count flaws, to measure against others, to chase impossible standards. But a strong woman moves differently because she has learned to see her body not as decoration, but as devotion. She doesn't move to shrink herself, she moves to expand her spirit. She doesn't move to escape her emotions, she moves to feel them fully and let them flow through her. And when she finishes, she doesn't check her reflection for results. She checks her heart for peace. Her breathing slows. Her thoughts settle. Her face softens. That post-movement stillness is her reward. The moment when she feels both powerful and peaceful, grounded and graceful. She understands that physical movement is a reflection of inner movement. When the body becomes active, the mind becomes clear. When the heart beats faster, the spirit wakes up. That's why she never says, "I don't have time to move." She knows that even 5 mindful minutes of stretching or walking can shift her energy entirely. It's not about duration, it's about devotion. And here's something beautiful. Her movement inspires her mindset. When she pushes through one more breath, one more pose, one more step, she reminds herself that she's capable of more than she thought. Her body becomes her teacher. It whispers, "See, you didn't give up. You were stronger than your excuses." That lesson stays with her long after she's finished moving. Through movement, she also learns balance. Some days she's strong, some days she's slow, some days she's still. But she doesn't judge any of it. She accepts what her body offers that day and honors it. Because strength isn't just in lifting heavy weights, it's in lifting yourself with compassion when you feel weak. And as she moves, she often feels something sacred, a quiet conversation between her body and her spirit. The body says, "I'm tired." The spirit replies, "I know, but we're healing." The body says, "It hurts." The spirit says, "It's okay, we're growing." This silent dialogue is where true resilience is born. When she moves intentionally, she doesn't just prepare for the day, she transforms it. She walks into her responsibilities with a lighter heart, a calmer mind, and a stronger presence. She knows that her energy is contagious, so she takes care of it. Because how she moves in the morning determines how she moves through life. And when others look at her, calm in chaos, graceful under pressure, glowing without reason, they wonder, what's her secret? But her secret isn't hidden. It's in her mornings, in those quiet, mindful movements that most people overlook. She moves because movement reminds her that she's alive. She moves because she refuses to carry yesterday's heaviness into today's light. She moves because every stretch, every breath, every beat of her heart is proof that strength and softness can exist together. So she rises, she breathes, she moves, not to impress the world, but to express her gratitude for simply being here, for having another chance to move forward, both in body and in life. That's what makes her strong, not the size of her muscles, but the depth of her awareness. Not how fast she runs, but how gently she walks back into her peace. And that is why every morning, a strong woman moves with intention, not to escape herself, but to return home to herself. When a strong woman begins her morning, she doesn't drown herself in a long list of things to do. She focuses on one clear, powerful intention. She knows that life will throw dozens of tasks, distractions, and unexpected moments her way, but if her intention is strong, her direction will never be lost. You see, most people wake up and immediately start thinking about everything they have to do: meetings, chores, messages, deadlines, responsibilities. Their mind becomes a traffic jam before the day even begins. But a strong woman doesn't chase the rush. She chooses her rhythm. She sits quietly for a moment, takes a deep breath, and asks herself, "What do I want to feel today? What kind of energy do I want to give?" That's where her day truly begins, not in her calendar, but in her consciousness. An intention is not a plan, it's a promise, a sacred agreement between her heart and her mind. It's not about what she wants to achieve, it's about how she wants to be. She may say to herself, "Today, I will handle everything with grace." Or, "Today, I choose peace over pressure." Or even something as simple as, "Today, I will listen to my heart more than my fears." These words are quiet, but they carry tremendous strength, because she knows that without intention, life becomes a series of reactions. But with intention, it becomes a work of creation. When you move through your day reacting, the world controls your energy. When you move with intention, you control it. And that is what makes her powerful. Not that she can control what happens around her, but that she can control what happens within her. There's a subtle but profound difference between activity and alignment. Many people are active all day, busy running, rushing, but they end the day feeling empty. Because activity without alignment is exhaustion. But alignment that comes from intention gives meaning to even the simplest acts. When a strong woman sets her intention, even her smallest gestures become sacred. Cooking becomes care, work becomes worship, listening becomes love. She knows that her intention will guide her focus. If her intention is to be calm, she'll find calm even in chaos. If her intention is to be kind, she'll respond gently even when provoked. If her intention is to be grateful, she'll notice beauty in places others overlook. That single thought she plants in the morning grows into the energy she carries throughout the day. And she doesn't just set her intention with her mind, she feels it with her heart. She visualizes it, breathes it in, and lets it settle deep within her. It's like lighting a candle inside herself, a small flame that keeps burning even when the winds of life try to blow it out. Every time something difficult happens during the day, she silently reminds herself of her morning promise. Stay calm, stay kind, stay grounded. And just like that, she returns to her center. You see, strong women have learned that intention is more powerful than motivation. Motivation depends on mood. It rises and falls with circumstances. But intention comes from the soul. It stays steady, no matter the storm. That's why even on the days she doesn't feel strong, she still acts with strength, because her intention guides her more than her emotions do. Sometimes her intention is personal. Today, I will forgive myself for what I cannot change. Other times it's selfless. Today, I will make at least one person smile. And on some days it's simply, today, I will not rush through my blessings. Whatever it is, it gives her a compass. She doesn't wander through her day. She walks with purpose. People often wonder how she stays composed when things fall apart, how she manages to stay kind when others are unkind. They don't see that her strength doesn't come from reacting perfectly in the moment. It comes from the inner foundation she built in the morning. Her intention gives her clarity in confusion, patience in pressure, and grace in grief. The world often glorifies hustle, long lists, constant activity, endless striving. But a strong woman knows that a peaceful life is not built by doing more. It's built by doing what truly matters, intentionally. She doesn't measure her day by how many things she completed, but by how consciously she lived. Setting an intention each morning also protects her from losing herself in the noise of the world. When life tries to pull her in different directions, that intention pulls her back home, reminding her, "You started this day with peace. Don't let anything steal it." And here's something beautiful. Her intention not only shapes her own experience, it influences everyone around her. Her calm energy softens rooms. Her kindness disarms anger. Her grace inspires gentleness in others. Without even speaking, she changes the atmosphere simply because she began her day by aligning with something higher than herself. When she goes to bed at night, she doesn't ask, "Did I finish everything?" She asks, "Did I live my intention?" And if the answer is yes, even if the day was imperfect, even if she stumbled, even if she cried, she sleeps peacefully. Because she knows she didn't just go through the day, she grew through it. That's the secret of her quiet power. She doesn't control the world, she commands her energy. She doesn't pray for easier days, she prays for clearer intentions. And with that clarity, she moves through each morning like the sun is steady, radiant, and full of quiet purpose. So when a strong woman sets one powerful intention, she's not just deciding how to act, she's deciding how to exist. And that decision, made in the stillness of morning, transforms every hour that follows. Because when your intention is pure, even the smallest step becomes a path toward greatness. Comparison, it's the silent thief that robs so many people of their peace. And a strong woman knows this truth deeply. Every morning when she wakes up, she makes a quiet choice. She doesn't compare, she prepares. Because she understands that the moment you start comparing your life to someone else's, you stop living your own. She refuses to let her energy scatter in directions that don't help her grow. It's easy to get lost in the world's noise. The phone is filled with perfect pictures, perfect routines, perfect smiles, lives that seem more beautiful, more successful, more effortless than your own. And yet, behind every picture is a story you don't know, a struggle you don't see, a pain that never made it to the screen. Strong women know this. They know that comparison is built on illusion, that it makes you measure your real life against someone else's highlight reel. So instead of scrolling, they start their mornings with stillness. They don't wake up asking, "What are others doing?" They wake up asking, "What am I becoming?" That single shift changes everything. Because the moment you turn your focus inward, growth begins. She knows she's not here to compete with anyone. She's here to complete her own journey. Her timeline is hers alone. When she sees another woman shining, she doesn't shrink, she smiles. She doesn't see another's success as a threat. She sees it as proof that beautiful things are possible. She blesses others' wins and goes back to working on her own. Because she understands that envy wastes energy, but preparation multiplies it. And she knows her energy is too precious to waste on jealousy or judgment. Each morning, she prepares, not for perfection, but for progress. She might write her goals, set her priorities, or simply visualize the kind of energy she wants to bring into her day. She doesn't look sideways, she looks forward. She focuses on small, steady steps, knowing that great things are built from consistent effort, not comparison. She's learned that comparison creates bitterness, but preparation creates confidence. The woman who compares says, "I'm not there yet." The woman who prepares says, "I'm on my way." That's the difference between frustration and faith. And here's the truth she's discovered. When you compare, you disconnect from your own blessings. You become blind to what you already have, to how far you've already come. But when you prepare, you reconnect with gratitude. You start noticing the beauty in your own path, the growth in your own pace, the lessons in your own pain. She knows that everyone is walking through something unseen. Some people are climbing mountains, others are learning how to breathe again. So she doesn't measure her journey by anyone else's milestones. She measures it by her courage, her consistency, her compassion. Every morning, she reminds herself, "My path is mine. My timing is divine. When she opens her eyes, she doesn't compare her reflection to others. She prepares her reflection to become better than it was yesterday. Maybe she'll learn something new. Maybe she'll forgive someone. Maybe she'll take one brave step she was afraid to take. That's her measure of success, not fame, not perfection, but growth. There's a quiet power in this mindset because when she's not distracted by who's ahead or behind her, she moves with peace. She walks in her own lane and her steps become lighter. She doesn't need validation, she builds value. She doesn't chase applause, she creates purpose. And ironically, that's what makes her stand out. Not because she's trying to, but because she's too focused on preparing herself to notice competition. She becomes magnetic, not by comparing, but by being completely herself. Preparation gives her confidence. She's not anxious about what's coming because she's already anchored in readiness. She's not intimidated by challenges because she's already rehearsed resilience in her mind. Her peace comes from knowing that she's doing the work, the inner work, the outer work, every single morning. Even on days when she feels slow, when progress seems invisible, she doesn't give up. She knows that slow growth is still growth. Seeds don't compare themselves in the soil, they just trust the process. And she is that seed, quietly becoming, deeply rooted, patiently rising. There are moments when she might look around and feel left behind, but she catches herself. She reminds her heart, I'm not late, I'm in alignment. She knows that life's pace is personal. Flowers bloom in different seasons, and every season has a purpose. Some for growing roots, some for growing petals. So instead of scrolling through lives she doesn't live, she writes her own. She builds her morning around preparation, planning her day, organizing her thoughts, aligning her energy. She prepares her mind with wisdom, her heart with gratitude, her body with movement, and her spirit with calmness. That's her morning routine, not comparison, but creation. When others are busy competing, she's busy becoming. When others seek to outshine, she seeks to outgrow. She's not in a race, she's in a rhythm. And the rhythm is guided by peace, not pressure. That's why when life gets loud, she doesn't lose her way. Her preparation grounds her. Her focus shields her. Her peace protects her. She's not afraid of anyone else's success because she knows her time will come. And when it does, she'll be ready, not rushed. So she keeps preparing every morning, every day, refining her thoughts, deepening her purpose, sharpening her spirit. Because she knows that when preparation meets opportunity, that's where miracles happen. A strong woman doesn't compare, she prepares. She doesn't chase, she creates. She doesn't look at what others are doing, she looks at who she's becoming. And in doing so, she turns her mornings into moments of power, her life into a masterpiece of patience, purpose, and peace.